Live from your local election headquarters at the 22 News Broadcast Center, this is an Easthampton Mayoral Forum. And now, here's Patrick Berry.
Good afternoon and welcome to a special Your Local Election Headquarters presentation on 22 News. I am Patrick Berry. This week, 22 News has been bringing you a series of forums among candidates running for mayor of local cities. Today, we are joined by the candidates running for the mayor of Easthampton. Here in the studio, we have interim mayor Salem Derby, Lindsi Sekula, and Jason J.T. Tirrell. We begin with opening statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute to deliver their opening statement. By virtue of a drawing that took place earlier, J.T. Tirrell will give the first opening statement. Mr. Tirrell, it's up to you.
I'd like to thank wwlp 22 News and you, Patrick, for hosting the candidates, and most importantly, the voters of Easthampton for taking the time to make an informed choice on November 4th. I'm Jason J.T. Tirrell, dad, husband, city councilor, youth sports coach, and community volunteer. I'm the only candidate in this race who was born and raised in Easthampton, and I'm the only change candidate in this race. My opponents will tout experience and stability, but all that's gotten us is in a budget crisis and low morale inside City Hall. I'm not much of a talker, but I'm a listener, a doer, and a worker. I know Easthampton because I am Easthampton. It's a city that feels like a town, a community where neighbors are friends and sometimes family. Over the last several years, we've let polarizing partisan rhetoric get in the way of community. I'll fix that. I'm proud to be the only candidate making community a central focus of my campaign. I'm the only candidate who can say 92% of their donations have come from inside Easthampton, and I'm the only candidate who has been officially endorsed by a previous Easthampton mayor and the current district attorney. On November 4th, you have a choice. Vote for fancy words and empty promises, or vote for me, where a promise made is a promise kept.
Thank you, Mr. Tirrell. Ms. Lindsi Sekula, you are next.
Thank you, Patrick and WWLP. My name is Lindsi Sekula, and I'm ready to be Easthampton's next mayor. For the past 7 years, I've been serving inside of the mayor's office, managing city operations, leading through crises, and driving major projects that improve the Easthampton you see today. I oversaw the launch of our new city website, secured state and regional grant for sustainability and public health, and helped guide our community through the pandemic. I've written executive orders, managed budgets, and built partnerships that deliver results. As the only woman and mother in this race, I live the same challenges our families face, navigating our schools right now, balancing budgets, and planning for the future. Being a mother has taught me to be practical, to listen, and fight fiercely for the people I care about. And those are the same qualities I'll bring as your mayor. Being mayor isn't about political opportunism. It's about making sure our trash is picked up, our parks are clean, and our roads are paved. It's about doing what's right for all of Easthampton, present and future. I will stand up with and for our community when it matters most, and I'll deliver the everyday results that keep our city thriving.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sekula. Mr. Derby, you are next.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, WWLP. I'm Salem Derby, and I'm honored to serve as Easthampton's interim mayor and candidate to be mayor. I spent over 2 decades working for this community. As a city council president, as a city council vice president, I've always been focused on making government transparent and collaborative and responsive to the people that we serve. I'm a third-generation teacher, working 20 years as a public high school teacher. I firmly believe in public education and the welfare of our students and educators. My wife Carissa and I own a small business in Easthampton, and I've raised our family there because we believe deeply in Easthampton's spirit of creativity, compassion, and resilience. As mayor, my focus is on affordability, sustainability, the arts, and public safety, making sure our city remains a place where everyone can live, work, and thrive. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together, and I'm ready to keep leading with experience, empathy, and steady hands.
Thank you, Mr. Derby, and thanks to all of you. We now get into the question and answer portion of the debate. I will ask a question, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond. In this format, there is no time set aside for rebuttal. We determine the order of questions by a drawing before the forum, and by virtue of that drawing, Lindsi Sekula will answer first, followed by J.T. Tirrell, and then Salem Derby after that. We will then rotate the order throughout the questions. Ms. Sekula, the first question is to you. Housing affordability is a major concern in Massachusetts. In Easthampton specifically, 3 new tenant associations have recently been formed in response to rent increases. Meanwhile, home buyers are dealing with record costs to purchase a home. As mayor, what would you do to help improve housing affordability in your city?
This is personal to me. I've navigated the complexities of housing insecurity my entire life, as a renter and now as a homeowner. That is why it's central to my master plan to ensure we take a fresh look at how we're looking at smart growth and housing production. We have a robust housing production plan in place already that needs a fresh set of eyes to make sure we modernize it and make sure our goals and priorities reflect today's needs. This means examining our zoning, encouraging smart infill development, and supporting creative solutions. We want to make sure Easthampton remains a place where families just like mine can work, live, and visit.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tirrell, the same question is to you. Do you need me to repeat it?
No, I don't. Thank you very much. I can look at this from both sides. Being a renter for many years and now a homeowner, I can see this from two different angles. We certainly do need to make sure that our current housing projects that are on track, which there are currently 3 housing projects on track, get completed, and we need to then analyze how that impact all those new all those new families, what impact they have on our education system, our public safety, and our infrastructure before we begin any other new projects. I also am in support of rent stabilization. I am against out-of-state landlords. I feel as though they just use our tenants as out-of-state ATMs, and I'd like to take care of that. Thank you.
Fantastic. Mr. Derby, same question to you. Do you need me to repeat it?
No.
Okay.
So this is something that I've been working diligently on since I became interim mayor. And for 22 years before that, I wrote one of the first affordable housing zoning ordinances that didn't pass. It was an affordable housing trust fund in 2004. And I've been working on affordable housing my entire career on city council. But more recently, I've been working on the projects at Ferry Street and the school reuse. I was the city council representative to the school reuse committee, and we picked Arch Communities to create affordable housing and mixed affordability housing in our formal schools. And that is something that I think is really important. Those schools are close to town. Ferry Street is a keystone project for the city. And I had the privilege this week of going to the Mass Developers Conference in Springfield, where I got to meet all of the developers and all of the state players that are working on bringing affordable housing to Western Mass. The governor has just appropriated $5 billion to increase affordable housing in Massachusetts. And as mayor, I intend to bring that to Easthampton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tirrell. The next question you will answer first. Continuing the affordability discussion, property taxes are a concern for homeowners everywhere, including Easthampton. Do you think there will be a need to have an increase in property taxes over the next 4 years? And what would you do to balance the city's funding needs while also protecting the taxpayers?
Well, I'll answer the second part of that first. I would like to partner with both State Rep Gomez and our State Senator John Vilas and look at federal and state opportunities through grants and see where we can have help from outside the city, because that's certainly not a problem that we can tackle on our own. That's something we're going to need to partner with them on. As far as property taxes go, property taxes just went up recently. I'm not a proponent for doing that again. I would like to look at every other option available before we have to do that again, because I don't believe that's acceptable to continue to do at the rate that we've been doing it.
Fantastic. Mr. Derby, same question to you. Do you need me to repeat it?
No.
Okay.
I think I got this. So for me, this starts with fiscal responsibility. I think it's really important for the city to make sure that our fiscal house is in order. And if we can take measures to be more efficient, to save taxpayer money, and to steward taxpayer money, I think it's really important for us as elected officials to understand that this isn't our money. This is the city's money and everybody in the city's money. And we need to take care of it more carefully than if it was our own. And so I take that I think that's really important to understand. So as we move forward, I think making sure that our fiscal house is in order. And as someone who's been on city council for 22 years, I understand how the city budgets worked. I've reviewed and approved 22 city budgets. And I've worked with all 3 mayors. So this is something that I have a really good understanding of. And as interim mayor, I've been working really diligently on.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sekula. The same question to you. Do you need me to repeat?
I do not. Thank you. The best long-term tax relief comes from responsibly growing our local economy, and everyone right now feels the strain of rising costs. My family does as well. And as mayor, I would like to create a new master plan where we strategically plan our growth and economic development in the city, which will help relieve that burden. I've worked alongside of our city finance team, hiring our newest treasurer, and we are just now getting a really steady hand in how we have a macro view of our budget and what that looks like moving forward. And I would like to involve all city residents in our budgeting plans and make sure that everyone has community buy-in for how our tax dollars are spent moving forward.
Thank you very much. The next question comes to you first, Mr. Derby. The mayor serves on the city's school committee. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's district report card says Easthampton is making only moderate progress toward improvement targets. What are your plans to increase student performance in the Easthampton Public Schools?
That's a great question. Thank you. So, like I said in my intro, I'm a third-generation teacher. I just got out of my class to come here because I teach in Northampton. And I've been teaching in Northampton for 20 years. So I have a deep understanding of public education, and I have a deep respect for the educators that have to go in and manage what they find in a classroom and be able to pivot on a dime and be able to adapt to a classroom filled with so many different needs. And I think that, we're still dealing with the outfall of COVID. That was a really impactful situation for our young students to have to adapt to. And, I think as we look to the future, any support that a mayor can give, I think, is going to be so important for our school committee and for our schools. And the deep understanding of education and public education is going to be necessary. We need someone as mayor who's on school committee that has a deep understanding of education and how it works.
Thank you very much. Ms. Sekula, same question to you.
Yes, as a mother of a kindergartner in Easthampton Public Schools right now, as well as a 10th grader in Easthampton Public Schools right now, and a recent graduate of our Easthampton High School, I'm deeply invested in our schools now and into the future. I have a background in early childhood development and also know what it's like to have to spend your own funding to ensure your classroom has its needs met. Moving forward, as a member of the school committee, which our mayor is in Easthampton, I would like to work on building the divide that I have seen over my last 7 years inside of City Hall between our schools and our city. And this isn't unique to Easthampton either. This is across Massachusetts municipalities. We need a mayor who's going to work collaboratively with our superintendent and our school committee to ensure we're financing responsibly within the department and ensuring our students, our staff, our educators, and our children have the resources they need to thrive.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tirrell, your question.
Thank you. I've worked in education or around education my entire professional life. We need to engage the students in Easthampton, both inside and outside the classroom. Speaking recently with paraeducators and teachers at Mountain View School in Easthampton, it came up that they would like to see more life skills classes taught, to engage the students more non-academic options, more robust extracurricular programs. We have two beautiful new facilities in Easthampton. We have some of the best paraeducators and teachers in the area. We just need now to match that with the pay that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. It's time for our first commercial break because we are at the halfway point in today's forum. Folks, please stay tuned after the break as we will have more questions and answers from candidates running for mayor of Easthampton. You are watching a special Your Local Election Headquarters presentation on 22 News. Welcome back. You are watching a special Your Local Election Headquarters presentation here on 22 News. Today we are joined by the candidates running for mayor of Easthampton. In studio with us today are Salem Derby, Lindsi Sekula, and Jason JT Tirrell. The next question goes to you, Ms. Sekula. Climate change is a global concern, but one that has local impacts. Easthampton has seen its share of natural disasters, including the microburst on Mount Tom back in 2014. As mayor, what are your priorities when it comes to improving the city's resiliency from climate change?
I'm proud to be the candidate that has been endorsed by the Environmental League of Massachusetts Action Fund for my work on sustainability and climate action planning. We currently have a climate action plan that has been set in place that now we just need to execute it. And in my work inside of City Hall, I created the position of and hired our first ever sustainability coordinator, as well as work collaboratively with local towns like Northampton and Westhampton to hire our first ever energy advocate to help residents navigate our energy bills. And these two will help guide us on the next action steps we need to ensure we're executing that climate action plan. By 2030, I believe we will be at 50% for the city's EV fleet, and I look forward to continuing these initiatives moving forward.
Thank you, Ms. Sekula. Mr. Tirrell, your same question to you. You're next.
Thank you. First, let me state the obvious. Easthampton is beautiful. There's nothing more beautiful than looking over Neshawanik Pond with Mount Tom in the background and the American flag waving over the pond. There's not much that looks better than that. A lot of people don't realize our coveted Barnes Aquifer recently came under attack by a battery lithium storage facility in a proposed facility in Westfield. I fought it, I protected it, I voted against it. These are things that we really need to do to think down the line when it comes to our water, because if we lose our water, we can never get that back. Water is life, and we might take that for granted here, but we have some of the best water in the nation. I'd also like to make sure Easthampton keeps that small town-like atmosphere and we don't descend into an urban sprawl. We need to look forward and don't build just to build, see what the impact's going to be prior to taking action.
Fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Derby, same question.
So Easthampton deserves a mayor that has vision, and I can prove that I have vision. In 2004, I wrote the first fuel-efficient vehicle ordinance that we passed, which allowed us to become one of the first green cities in Massachusetts. I helped write a solar ordinance that allowed us to put a solar array on top of the capped Oliver Street landfill. And so as I look forward, and I became the mayor, I started to plan what I would like to see for Easthampton in the future. And I wrote a plan because we have a municipal light plant. And I would love to see us do energy aggregation. And I was talking to Mayor Josh Garcia from Holyoke the other day, and we have a meeting coming up to talk about how we can combine with Holyoke to look at sustainable ways to look at providing Easthampton with electricity that is cheaper than we get with municipal aggregation. And we need to look at more solar over capped landfills. We need to look at creative ways to partner with our local communities that are close to us that have renewable resources and bring those to Easthampton for the residents to be able to get cheaper, more sustainable electricity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tirrell. This next question comes to you first. Car crashes involving pedestrians have been on the rise in recent years, and a pedestrian was killed in a crash on Route 10 in Easthampton earlier this year. The city has a walkable downtown and many cyclists as well. What would you do as mayor to improve safety not only for pedestrians but for all road users?
Well, public safety has been at the forefront. I am the current chair of the Public Safety Committee on City Council, and we just recently approved a four-way stop at a very dangerous intersection that's claimed lives in the past at Loudville, West Street, Pomeroy, and Glendale. That has now become a four-way stop. That was also years ago, that was an intersection that there was also more work done on to take the cap off a hill so sight lines could be increased. This is something that's not sexy, but it's vital for our downtown. We need crosswalks where seniors with walkers and wheelchairs can get up, curb cuts, things you might not think about walking around town, but if you have a wheelchair or a walker, you need to think about these things. And those are things that you really need to look at. We have some of the best public safety professionals, hands down. We recently implemented a traffic officer on the day shift, which I think is going to improve greatly. That way, if there's a traffic public safety issue during the day, an officer's not being called off another call. This officer will be directly responsible for traffic and safety during the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Derby. Same question.
So pedestrian safety has been on my radar for a very long time. I've been a member of the Public Safety Committee for over a decade and probably more. And one of the most common themes that we have coming into our committee is concerned citizens about people speeding, about people driving erratically, and really about bike and pedestrian safety. We have an amazing downtown strategic plan. You can check it out on our website. And it is a lot of work done around making Easthampton more walkable, more bikeable, and safer, and more attractive for people to come down and use the bike path and be able to access downtown. And in my time as a city councilor, I've advocated for more pedestrian safety, more sidewalks, more bike lanes, and really have been a huge supporter of the bike path because I commute to work on my bike. So this is something that is in my daily experience, and it's something I care deeply about. And I have identified the most dangerous intersection in Easthampton, which is South Street and Main Street, and I will deal with that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Sekula, same question.
Yes, with kids who are biking and walking our street, I have a personal interest in this. Several months ago, I went in front of our city council members and requested that we do a citywide assessment of our streets and where there is the heaviest influx of traffic and accidents. And I asked that they work collaboratively once we had a new police chief hired so that we could start hitting the ground with data-driven information to make sure that we can make changes based on our needs. And moving forward, we have a lot of exciting plans in progress right now for our Main Street redesign, where we're adding walking trails and bike lanes so that we can make Easthampton accessible for everyone, regardless of your mode of transportation. We just finished a Union Street redesign as well, but these projects take time. So I would like to champion that citywide assessment of our streets to see what needs to be done and then make sure it's fitting our needs today.
Thank you very much. Next question, we will start with you, Mr. Derby. Today is Friday, which means Easthampton City Hall is closed. Most local city halls, including those in Northampton, Holyoke, Westfield, are open 5 days a week. Is it possible to open City Hall on Fridays? And if so, is that something you would make a priority as mayor?
So I was around when City Hall went from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. It was around 2008 when we had a pretty severe budget shortfall, and this was a cost-saving measure. And I think, it was very progressive, honestly. I think a lot of places are looking at a potential 4-day work week. It allows staff to have flexibility to be able to manage healthcare appointments, to manage other things in their lives that they might not be able to get done if they're working 9 to 5, 5 days a week. And so I think it's actually, from what I'm seeing as far as outcomes, I don't see it as being negative overall. I see that our staff work hard. They appreciate the fact that they have a day where they can get things done, and we have great, productivity. So I don't think I would look at going back to a 5-day work week. I think it would hurt morale, and I think what we're doing now is working, and it sets a good example for a good work-life balance. And I think more cities and towns should take a look at that because it's working.
Thank you very much. Ms. Sekula, same question.
Well, as a city employee, I can wholeheartedly say no. I would not be interested in opening City Hall 5 days a week. As an employee and someone who has overseen staff for the last 7 years inside of City Hall, I know how much we all value our work-life balance. And it's important to me that we maintain that to ensure that we have appropriate morale. I think moving forward, what we need to really look at with a shortened work week is how we give access to the public and make sure city services are always accessible. So one of the things that I have championed in my time at City Hall is creating a website that allowed online payment processing for our residents, so you wouldn't always have the need to come into City Hall. So moving forward, let's start looking at the ways we can make City Hall accessible 5 days a week without impeding our budget and putting a strain on that and our staff.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tirrell, same question.
Thank you. Transparency, accountability, and accessibility I have been touting throughout my campaign. And accessibility specifically having to do with City Hall's accessibility. I am very much in favor of opening City Hall 5 days a week. I am not naive enough to think you are going to now talk people into working 5 days a week when they've been used to working 4 days a week. But with some out-of-the-box thinking and some creative thought, maybe we could do split shifts, maybe Monday to Thursday, Tuesday to Friday. I think it's vital that City Hall be accessible to our citizens 5 days a week.
Excellent. We do have enough time for one last question, but we will shorten the answers to 30 seconds each. Ms. Sekula, we will start with you. Easthampton has been a vibrant art scene, which has been a huge contributor to the city's revitalization over the past few decades. As mayor, how can you continue the growth of the arts in Easthampton?
Easthampton has incredible momentum for our growing arts and culture scene to our small businesses, all showing why Easthampton is a little city with big heart. As mayor, I want to build on that through our new master plan and strategically planning smart growth while promoting those not only who live and work in Easthampton, but who come to visit Easthampton. I have visions for expanding our cultural district, and I also want to continue programs I started, like our Small Business Roundtable, to ensure we're moving red tape and having more business come into our city.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tirrell, same question.
Coming on the heels of the revitalization of Cottage Street and in Union Street more recently, we are going to be embarking on the revitalization of Main Street, which includes our city arts, which just recently received monies to put in an elevator so it would be accessible for people with disabilities and elderly. I think that redesign of Main Street is going to further increase the walkability and further increase the size of our arts and culture.
Fantastic. Mr. Derby, you're the last one to answer this question.
Great. So I've been working with Easthampton Arts for 22 years, and I was able to vote to approve the Cottage Street Cultural District. I was able to be a supporter of City Space for years and years. And I also was able to work with our city departments to bring the music series Mill Pond Live to Easthampton, which was a huge success. And my first act as mayor was I designed a public art festival that is murals and sidewalk chalk art festival, and I presented it to our ECA committee, and they are now working with it to try to make that a reality. So arts is something I think is a fabric of our success, and I would work to support it.
Thank you very much. Well, folks, that is all the time we have for today's program. Thank you to Salem Derby, Lindsi Sekula, and JT Tirrell for participating. If you missed any of today's forum, it will be posted in its entirety on wwlp.com. It will also air again this afternoon at 4 p.m. as part of 22 News in Focus on the 22 News Plus app. I'm Patrick Berry. Have a great afternoon.